All right, class, welcome back to Algebra 1. Today our proverb is found in the 8th chapter, the 30th verse. Then I, wisdom, was beside him as a master craftsman, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in his inhabited world. So wisdom's been around forever. You just have to search for it, reach for it through the Word. All right, today is Thursday, March the 9th. We're in section 9.4. I have titled it Using the Square Root Method to Solve Quadratic Equations. All right, we're going to look at several examples from the guided practice found on page 595. The first guided practice is x squared, so I know it's quadratic. I know there are going to be two answers because of this 2. X squared minus 25 equals 0. Now the old way says that this is the difference of squares. X plus 5, x minus 5. These are the factors. For some of you that are asking what are factors, you're not watching the videos very closely. These are the factors. The zeros are what makes this go to 0. So the 0 for the first one is negative 5. The 0 for the second one is positive 5. So these are the solutions. You're going to be asked to solve quadratic equations. However, there's more than one way to solve a quadratic equation. Today, we're going to do it by the square roots method. If you have the quadratic term, linear term is missing. There is no bx. But this is the constant. This is c. So we have a squared plus or minus c equals 0. You can solve it by a different method. It's a little quicker, actually. You isolate the quadratic term, x squared equals. We're going to add 25 to both sides. So you get x squared equals 25. And I want to have just x here, not the squared. To do that, you may take the square root of both sides. The square and the square root neutralize or cancel each other out. You're left with x equals the square root of 25. Well, I told you there were two answers from the get-go. This is plus or minus the square root of 25. And the square root of 25 has a perfect root, and that would be 5. So our answers are plus or minus 5. You may answer like this, or you may answer 5 comma negative 5. This is kind of a shortcut for those of you guys that like a shortcut. Plug that answer back in, it should work. Both answers should work. All right. I've skipped guided practice number 2. I've gone to number 3. I want to isolate x squared, but there are two things that need to be moved in order to isolate it. I'm going to subtract the 11 from both sides. We're left with 2x squared equals 0. It's okay. All right. I need to get rid of this 2. It is held together with multiplication, so division will undo that. I'm going to say, what is 0 divided by 2? 0 divided by 2 is 0. Okay, it's a value. Then we're going to take the square root of both sides. 0 again is neutral, so it is not a plus or minus, it is just 0. So it does have a singular value only that's going to solve this particular equation. Move our camera down and do guided practice number 4, then back up and get number 2. All right. I want to isolate the square root, the x squared. But this 25 is tagging along, kind of like the 2 was tagging along over here. So we've got to get rid of the 25 by doing the inverse operation, which is division by 25. We're left with x squared equals 16 divided by 25. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. It's going to provide two answers. X is plus or minus the square root of 16/25. Now we know this as the square root of a over the square root of b. So that is plus or minus the square root of 16 divided by square root of 25, which they both happen to have perfect roots. So we get plus or minus, square root of 16 is 4, square root of 25 is 5. So it is plus or minus 4/5. All right. Now I've saved number 2 for the end of the board. We're going to subtract 12 from both sides. I get a 5x squared equals a negative 20. Now if this is negative, we could keep on going. It is not as positive, but I'm going to show you where the problem is getting ready to arise. 5 divided by 5 is 1, x squared. I've got a negative divided by positive, which is a negative 4. When I proceed to take the square root of a negative value, I'm going to get an imaginary value. And we're looking for real zeros only. This is going to provide an imaginary 0, which will happen in Algebra 2. So you're going to answer no solution or no real solution. Okay? All right, we're going to make this in one video. Last problem. This is actually exercise number 18, and it's found on page 597. I'm getting my calculator. I forgot to do that. You're asked to approximate your answers to the nearest 100th. So, same story. We're going to take 11 from both sides. I'm left with x squared equals 13. You can already tell there's going to be a problem. Not a problem, but opportunity. Square root of both sides, you get x equals, it's exactly plus or minus the square root of 13. That is an exact answer. However, you're asked to approximate to the nearest 100th. Okay? So, on your calculator, take square root of 13. You get 3.605, and we're going to the nearest 100th. So we're going to say 3.61, and remember this is plus or minus. This answer is only approximate. It is not exact. It is close. This is exact. This is approximation to the nearest 100th. All right. Good luck on your homework.